And welcome to the Wednesday live cap from Picks and Parlays. My name is Allie Burns, and with me, as always, is Nick Parsons. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
It's going fantastic, Allie. Really looking forward to today's show, I guess, with the NFL. I mean, there's not too many sports going left on, so I'm really looking forward to getting into a few of these games with you this week.
Yeah, and we do have our special guest today. We've got Kurt Alexander with us. How's it going, Kurt?
It's going great, Allie. How you doing, Nick?
Good to see you, Kurt.
Good to see you. I'm missing sports as well. So I have my Buffalo Sabres jersey on because nobody's seen about hockey anymore. So this is my little memorial to hockey that would be being played right now if it was in 2020. So
I mean, it really is a different time right now with just with the NFL and college football. Still like about another month away for college basketball. Of course, there's European soccer as well that can sort of fill the void as well.
I do like some European soccer, I will say that, but it's too hard for me to follow, to bet on it, but I really do like to watch it. So there is that. I've got that going for me.
No, it's not easy for sure. I mean, none of this is, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up cricket. I picked some cricket sheets. So you guys need some hot cricket picks. Talk to me in a couple of weeks.
I have a cricket story, man. So, I married a guy, I moved to England, and he's like, oh, you're a baseball fan, you're going to love cricket, right? So we live in Malden, and it's like a 45-minute drive into London 3 days in a row. This is a 3-day test match. India and England play. Whole shebang, all 3 days. And at the end of this, they tie. They freaking tie. I lost my mind. Someone needs to go out in the street and fight it out because I'm going to need a winner. Like, I'm an American. It's not how we do things. So anyway. Don't get into cricket.
Okay.
Don't get into cricket. It's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Rugby it is.
Yeah, there you go. Darts, maybe. So we do have some good games to talk about. We picked out 3 from the NFL. Like usual, we'll do that Thursday night game, which I don't know how I feel about it. We're going to go with Falcons at the Panthers. The total's -2.5, Panthers -2.5, and the total's 51. Kurt, what do you think about this one?
I was looking at this line. I went back and looked at the first game they played in week 5, I believe, where the Panthers won the game 23-16. That final score wasn't really telling of what happened in the game. Matt Ryan threw a pick late in the fourth quarter, 8 minutes left, and Carolina gets the ball from the 20. Just a one possession. So I really felt that the Falcons were in that game. This game, I'm leaning more towards the Falcons. Just really had a great day against that Panthers defense, and I think Ryan had a good day. He only had less than 300 yards passing, but he still had this team with a chance to win the game or at least tie the game. So this is a close match. I like the Falcons. I'm going to take the Falcons with this one.
And what about you, Nick? I just like to hear you say Falcons.
The Falcons. The Falcons? Falcons. Yes.
And their offense. The Falcons' offense.
You know what? I'm in total and complete agreement with Kurt there. Yeah, that first game went under the number. I actually have a play on the total in this one. So I will, stick to the side on this one. And I like Atlanta for sure in this one as well. Allie just dropped off there. We do have some connection issues. Oh, she's back already. There she is.
Right.
But I mean, at 1-6, Atlanta is just playing for pride at this point. But this is a divisional game. You know what? It's gonna keep trying to fight here. And despite the loss last week, the Falcons actually outgained Detroit 388-386. Yeah, and as Kurt pointed out, Matt Ryan, he continues to be a bright spot on this team. Last week, he had 338 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, and one of those touchdowns was to Julio Jones, who wasn't playing in that Week 5 contest either. So, Carolina, it reeled off those 3 straight wins, and a lot of people were talking about Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers, as sort of a sexy sleeper pick. But then Carolina, it comes into this one now off 2 straight losses, the 27-24 setback to the Saints last weekend. Bridgewater was actually really good in that. He had 254 yards and 2 touchdowns, and DJ Moore, he caught both of those touchdowns. But Carolina, it was hammered in the total yardage department in that setback, 415 to 283. So the Panthers are also, they're just 1-5-1 against the spread in their last 7 at home. The Falcons are 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 as a road underdog. And so, Allie, also one other factor that I've been noticing here that you always like to point out, a lot of money here, the majority of the money is on the Panthers at this point. And so you've said several times, and unfortunately, Allie's fallen off again there, but she has said several times, you definitely, she likes going the other way in a case like that when it's really lopsided, the money. And so I'm with you, Kurt. I like Atlanta here. And as I say, I do have a play on the total. And you guys can go check that one at Picks and Parlays. And we're hoping to get Allie back here. Was there anything else on this game, Kurt, that you stood out to you?
Gurley. He only had 14 carries the last time they played, but he had over 121 yards rushing. And I think like I said, I feel that Atlanta got away from their game. They were still close. I think you could have still ran Gurley. You still had plenty of time. It was just a costly pick in the end zone that shifted this game. But when you look at the numbers, now don't get me wrong, Bridgewater lit up the scoreboard himself. His stats, he had 313 yards passing with 2 TDs as well. So he played a good. I look for Atlanta to come back. I think they feel like they let one get away from them last time. So I'm looking for them to come back and, make a statement here, even though they don't have anything to play for, only 1 win on the season.
Yeah.
But when you look at Atlanta and you look at how their season has gone, like this team's pretty much led majority of the season. If you look game by game, aside from Seattle, they've had the lead majority of the season. And it comes down to, I guess you could call them, what do you call that when you just have a blank? Like where it's just
a lapse. I know, yeah.
Just a lapse.
A lapse.
If you look exactly. At that was a lapse. When it came to the onside, there was a lapse last week in the Detroit game. I really think Atlanta's season could easily have been, they could easily have, 3-4 wins. Not too many games where they just completely got blown out, aside Seattle. The Seattle game. But yeah, this is definitely a team that I think they have a lot to play for as far as pride wise, and they have been leading majority of this season. Game by game, they lead. It's the last 2 minutes, last 18 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's a good point you made there about Gurley. He had 2 touchdowns last week as well, and so he's sort of having a resurgent season here. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't see anybody in our chat really saying anything other than Elliot that was really he's on the Panthers. He's disagreeing with us here. And so there you go. I mean, as I said earlier, a lot of people are on the Panthers. That early money was there on the Panthers from everything that I have seen here. And so Allie has warned against that. Is one of the things she looks against, that when everybody's on one side, she tends to like the other.
Right.
But Kurt, yeah. Maybe we can move on to our next game, and we'll just kind of keep rolling here. Perhaps Allie is rebooting her computer and hoping that her connection is.
I believe that's what she's doing. Elliot, she will be back.
Right. Yes. Just hold in there. So we have an interesting matchup here with the Patriots and the Bills.
Yes.
Now, the Bills is a really interesting team. They're 4-2, but what I do find interesting about them is that they average 24.9 points per game and they allow 25.4. So yeah, I mean, this is not a long-term recipe for success, obviously. And this is a big game for both teams. This is the first matchup of the year.
Yes.
When New England and Buffalo at the start of this year, they had even odds to win the AFC East. Now, of course, we look at that in hindsight. Well, I don't know how much better is Buffalo than New England in your estimation?
Well, right now I can't get over that Buffalo Jets game. I really thought that was going to be the game that Buffalo kind of snaps out of the little slump that they're in, but it's looking like it's continuing, and I don't know where to really put my finger on it. But I think with both of these teams, what you have are quarterbacks that are doing everything for their offense. Neither team has run support. Josh Allen in the last 2 games has led the team in rushing. And
Wow.
I don't know if that's for success here. Cam Newton, same thing. He didn't lead them in rushing against the 49ers, but he did against them. And you're seeing these teams struggle on the board. I think enough balance on offense right now. The 3.5, I'm looking at that 3.5. I think this is a perfect spot for Buffalo, but I thought last week was a perfect spot for Buffalo as well. I don't know. I can't put my finger on, but they just look different. Allen's still putting up the numbers, but you're not seeing down numbers. And it's kind of like Diggs. And who else to ask? There's a lot of questions. I think these two teams are very similar right now. I don't see Buffalo as having that much an advantage over New England. Both of them rely on their quarterbacks.
Right. No, I would totally agree again with you on this. In fact, Elliot in chat is also agreeing with us. He likes the Bills money line. He says until the Pats can actually win a game, I'm going to continue to fade them. And he said in response to your Jets question there, he says the Bills didn't even bother preparing for the sorry Jets. But yeah, he makes some good points there as far as motivation and different stuff. I mean, they have the home field. They really do want to bury Belichick here. This is an important game for them because they want to be the definitive top dog in that division. And to do that, you have to hammer the Patriots, whenever you get a chance. And so, I'm with you. I don't think that there is like a huge discrepancy in these, in the team's numbers. Although, I mean, Cam Newton, he started off the year great. Then he had to deal with some positive COVID-19 issues, and he's looked shaky the last couple of weeks, especially in last week's 33-6 loss to the 49ers. He even got replaced in the second half there for a little bit. These two teams last year, Kurt, what was their calling card? It was their defense. Bills
exactly.
And the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots were putting up historically record-breaking numbers over the first 8 games last year before they sort of fell apart. And now, of course, that's not been the case the last few weeks. And so that's mostly, this is a different team, the Patriots. They have the new quarterback, but then they had a lot of players opt out before the season even started because of the COVID issues. I think more than any other team, New England had a lot of their starting, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. Last week they gave up 467 yards of offense to an injured 49ers team, and now they face this Bills team with something to prove. So I'm with you on this one. I also like Buffalo, but what about you, Ellie?
It's hard for me to like the Patriots right now. I mean, they're coming off their 3rd loss in a row, I just feel like this, if you're a Patriots fan and you're so used to this winning culture, this has got to be like a really rough year for you. Cam threw 3 interceptions last week. That's not Patriots material, as far as I think their fans are concerned. I'm on the Bills here. I don't think Josh Allen is like quite the wonder boy that we all thought that he was like at the beginning of the season. I mean, I don't know how you lose to the Jets or you win to the Jets 18-10. You're coming off back-to-back losses. Like, this is your time to be like, we're the Bills, we're going to crush the Jets. And it did not go down that way. So I'm kind of iffy. This feels like it's an under game to me, if anything. That's kind of my take on it, is an under.
Okay, because I'll just quickly switch over to Facebook here. We have a few people over there as well speaking. We have a bunch of people in the chat on YouTube as well. And so, Jalen, this is a little bit a while ago there. I think you were talking about the over or under in the first one. And so perhaps if you want to get both Allie and Kurt's opinion on that over-under or on any of these ones, you guys should tune into Total Chaos with Allie and Kurt on Saturday. And so I won't be involved in that one this Saturday. I will definitely be coming back the next week, but I just wanted to point that show out, and that will be at 1 Eastern on Saturday.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And you guys can find our free picks videos are out now. We do 5 NFL and 5 college. Those free picks videos, if they haven't dropped already, they'll be out in the next day or so. So you can always get a sneak preview. And while I have your attention, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can get notifications every time we post a new pick. I'm contractually obligated to do that. No, I'm just kidding.
I do want to say one more thing about the New England Buffalo game. You noticed since Cam came back. Now, when Cam they were playing Kansas City, the line moved from City -7 all the way to -12. That's how important this guy was to the team. Well, now that he's been back, you're seeing the 2 games that he's been back, and it's let's see, 17 of 25 interceptions against Denver, 98 yards passing, 3 interceptions against the 49ers. So I thought that line move against Kansas City was so huge because it's like, hey, this is the quarterback need if they're going to have any chance to win the game. And now that he's back, I'm looking like I really see a difference between Cam Newton and the 3rd string quarterback right now.
Right. That's an interesting point you bring.
Kansas City.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point there, Kurt, about that line movement, that it was so significant there with Cam and Kansas City. And now when you look at this line movement this week and look at the Cam's performance, and what's the difference between him and the 3rd string at this point?
And that's an important thing. We always like to give out handicapping tips for newer bettors and whatnot on the show. And that's a really important thing to remember, is that value comes with name recognition, and everybody knows Cam. And, that's really where you're going to get those extra points. Same with teams like, Ohio State or the Cubs or the Dodgers, like those betting favorites. So you always want to watch out for those name recognition guys, because those numbers can be super inflated.
I have
absolutely great point.
I have a friend here in Vegas, Scam Newton, because you feel like you're getting scammed. All of a sudden, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to bet on Cam Newton," but he got you.
Right.
He got you. 3 interceptions. Well, I'll tell you who got me, and it was Joe Burrow. Because from episode 1 of this show, I'm like, Joe Burrow's the man, LSU, he's going to kick butt. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's not what's happening. They're 1-5-1, which is, again, with the ties, right? So you guys want to talk Titans at Bengals?
Yes.
Titans are -5.5, and the total's 53.5. Titans are 5-1. They're at the top of the NFC South, and the Bengals are 1-5-1. They are dead last in the NFC North. AFC North. I'm going to talk for real now, guys. So, Nick, let's start with you. What do you think about Titans and Bengals?
Yeah, Ali, I mean, I know that you are a big Joe Burrow fan, and I think I like the I like the Bengals here. I think that they're going to give the Titans everything they can handle at home this weekend. Tennessee mentioned it's 5-1, but its first loss came just last week, 27-24 at Pittsburgh on Sunday. And that was a brutal loss too. We've been talking about some brutal losses, but Steven Gostkowski there, he missed the 45-yard field goal that would have sent it into overtime with just 15 seconds left. Tennessee averages 31.3 points per game, but it concedes 25.5 points per game. So that's pretty mediocre. As you mentioned, Burrow isn't going to be in the playoffs this year, but he isn't rolling over either. He's coming off his best game ever as a pro. He had, the 3 touchdowns and only 1 interception. He had 406 yards passing. This guy is not regressing. He's completely, going the other way. He's doing great. I don't think there's any reason not to believe that he can't build off that performance, especially against this Tennessee defense. And so this is I don't have a completely a strong read on this game, but early on, I think that, I think that Cincinnati can give Tennessee, which is coming off its first loss there, I'm sort of leaning that way anyways. But Kurt, how do you feel? So far, we've agreed on everything so far. Is that going to continue on this one?
Well,
Not
Kurt's a
this
Titans
time.
fan.
This is
Yeah, Kurt's a Titan.
Okay.
and I was just about to say it has nothing to do with me being a Titans fan, but I just think Tennessee is probably one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. If you sit there and look, put them up there with Kansas City, with Pittsburgh. I don't know who you would think from NFC, but I think Tennessee, top 5 teams. You got to remember, this team lost to the Super Bowl champions last year. And when they play teams, lesser teams, I guess you could say, like the Cleveland Browns, Bengals, I really look for Tennessee to dominate this game. I know it's on the road, and I would love to take Cincinnati points, but you will have an angry Titans team. They lost the game because of special teams play. If you look at that first half, they basically gave the game to Pittsburgh. You have the missed field goal at the end, but before the missed field goal in the first half, you had a muff punt, great field position. They were practically in the red zone when they retrieved the ball. You had a big kick return by Pittsburgh before the end of the first half that set up another scoring opportunity. The Titans, you had a fumble on a kickoff for the Titans. So every phase of their special teams failed them. Muskowski ended up giving the game away later on. But against Cincinnati, and I've been riding Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's 400 passing last week. That was a great game against Cleveland. I bet Ohio was really happy to see 2 teams putting up the kind of points. And it was back and forth, Burrows would go down and score. Hey, come down and score. Burrows is like, okay, no worries. Come right back and scores the lead. I got this. I'll come back down and score. So you had this back and forth game last week, and it was good to see.
It was great.
Burrow's definitely sure. You saw what he did against Indy, and I always brag about the Indy defense, but I think that he's just going to be overmatched the Titans. The Titans are a solid team. You want to talk about when he struggled with the Baltimore Ravens. And you know who beat Baltimore last year? Tennessee. Tennessee's the upper class in this and a lot of don't because they don't associate Tennessee with being the top, but they're right up there with Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a Titans believer. I mean, when you think that I remember the halftime score, I remember looking at that score and being like, nailed my Steelers bet on that one. And honestly, I was going for whoever was getting points in that game because it could have gone either way. And the Steelers happened to be getting the point and I took them. But they were down 24-7 at the half. I mean, I thought that was cake, but they fought back and they held the Steelers to only 3 points in the second half. So Titans have some chutzpah. They got some fight. They do not want to lose. And you're right. There were some mistakes made in the first half. They corrected them for the most part. And I like this Titans squad. I do.
Okay. And you know what? Everyone in chat is loving the Titans pick, you guys. And so I guess I'm the lone man out on this one. But both Rye Cape and Elliot love your breakdown on that one, Kurt. They completely agree with you on that one. Although Elliot is on the Panthers, the rest of us have taken Atlanta. So there you go on that one. But I just wanted to point it out that the majority of the money is on the Titans again in that one.
I was out. I did not take Atlanta. I'm not taking Atlanta. No,
okay.
I'm on the Panthers all day.
Okay.
I'm not giving one freaking penny to Atlanta. Absolutely not. You guys are the experts, but I'm not. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I'm a fan of his, and
he's been great.
Yes.
No, you cannot fault his performance whatsoever. And so Elliot's loving that, and he's definitely with you on that pick.
Elliot's my dude. We get each other.
Yeah.
All right. So
you guys.
So that is just about it for today then. Is there anything else we want to chat about, bring up? Any particular games this week that are standing out to you, Kurt?
Well, I was basically talking about the Titans game, but I'm looking forward to this Pittsburgh Steelers Baltimore Ravens game.
Yeah.
You have the Ravens war against the Steelers. I think that, anytime you can get a 5-0 team with points, you got to love that, right? You would think that this would be. I think this is a statement game for Pittsburgh. I think this is a statement season for Pittsburgh. They didn't have Big Ben last year, and everybody kind of pushed them to the side, even though they were still in the playoff mix late. I like the Steeler Raven matchup.
Yeah, that's an
old,
interesting one. I had an
Nebraska.
interesting stat on that one, Ellie, that a 6-0 team has closed as an underdog of 4 points or more only 5 times in the Super Bowl era. And all 5 of those teams did go on to lose those contests.
Oh,
So if
wow.
that stat were to remain true, yeah, then it would look like Baltimore would be the pick anyways. But yeah.
That's a trend for you.
That is definitely a good trend. Yeah. I like watching the AFC, what are they? The AFC North battle each other because they just beat up on each other. And this is another one of those games where you've already seen Baltimore kind of do it to Cleveland and to Cincinnati. Well, Pittsburgh's more like the big brother of this division. They just weren't around last year. I think Baltimore is going to have their hands full with this Steeler team.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Steelers here, and I love my whole family's from Pittsburgh, so I'm always back the Steelers. But I do really like the Steelers legitimately too in this game.
I do as well. One thing I did want to mention, Allie, is that we won't be doing the live cap show on Friday, but we will be back the following week, Wednesday and Friday as usual, moving forward. And I won't be a part of the Saturday Total Chaos this week, but I will be the following weekend as usual.
Yes. Okay. So we'll do Total Chaos Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern again. So definitely check it out. I'm sorry, y'all. We missed you last week. Things got a little bit hectic around here. And so, we'll definitely be back on Sunday. And then Friday, I think Craig Trapp and I are going to try to get something together to do kind of a live cap show. So just keep an eye on your picks and parlays notifications and see what happens there. And then Nick will be back on Wednesday, definitely. So we'll start the whole process over again. Until then, guys, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks so much to Kurt for coming and joining us today. Great breakdowns, great information. And check out Nick Parsons at the Insiders Room. They've got a lot of great stuff over there also.
Thanks, Ellie.
Also, one more thing, promo code at Picks and Parlays for the week is TREAT, 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 and it'll save you 15% on anything on the site. So check that out as well.
All right. Thanks,
All
Ellie.
right.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
see you next
Ellie.
time.
Bye, Nick.
See you guys.